Okay. Okay. Review. What are the two ways for saying two triangles are congruent that we've already got? Side, side, side. Okay. Side, angle, side. Side, side, side was when we have two triangles and the corresponding, just drawing a picture. This is what that would look like. Agreed? Kiki, start handing these around, please. Side angle side. You have two sets of sides congruent and the included angle, the angle in between the two sides. If you have that, you can say the two triangles congruent. One thing to remember, we get really talking about, we get very focused on the abbreviations, the SSS, SAS. What are we trying to do with these? What is their purpose? They're shortcuts to prove what? The two triangles are congruent. Instead of having to prove all 6 things, hey, we've got what turns out to be 4 shortcuts, only having to prove 3 things. Okay, 6 things including the 3 angles and the 3 sides, right? Before these shortcuts, if we were going to prove 2 triangles congruent, or say that these 2 triangles are congruent, we would have to state all 6 of those. These are shortcuts to say, oh hey, if you have this set of if these 3 sets of things are congruent, then you can say the 2 triangles are what? Congruent. Make sense? So our first shortcut was side, side, side. If the corresponding sides are congruent, then the 2 triangles are congruent. The next one is if 2 sets of angles are congruent and the angle included by those 2 congruent sides is congruent, then you can say the 2 triangles are. Okay? And remember that included meant in between. So where do we put the A? In between the S and the what? Okay? Our new ones today. ASA and AAS. What do you think ASA means? Angle, side, angle. What do you think AAS means? Now, here's the kicker here. Think about it. What's the difference between these two? Right. What did that indicate with the other stuff? What did that indicate with side angle side? That the side one in between was the what? Included what? Angle, right? What do you think this means? 2 sets of what? Corresponding angles are congruent and the side included by those 2 angles. Then the 2 triangles are what? Congruent. Should have put if in front of that. Not a very good if. if two sets of corresponding angles are congruent and the side included by those two angles is congruent, or are congruent, then the two triangles are congruent. On the picture I've got drawn over here to the left, I've drawn the two angles that are congruent. Two sets of angles. Does anybody have any idea what the included in between, that's what included means, correct? Side would be? Okay. And what? That's one possibility. I'm not saying he's wrong, I'm not saying he's right. Let you guys get that written down and see who all agrees with that, disagrees. Come in. Oh, is it not working?
You said that you have substitute.
I do, no, I do third through fifth.
Okay, that's all.
Okay. Okay, what do you guys think? Which one is the, I heard somebody say they thought that the included, or the side in between would be A, B, and D, E. Does anybody else disagree or agree with that? What do you guys think? What would be the side in between the two sets of angles congruent? Which side looks like it's in between these two right here? You know an easy way to tell? If you drew both the angles, which side do you draw twice? If I drew this angle, then I drew that angle, right? Then I draw this angle. What side did I draw twice? Guess what? That's the included side. Which side would be the included side here? Which one do I draw twice? So that's angle, side angle. Make sense? That is the included side. Now, what do you think this is going to say? What's the difference between this one and this one? It's the same three things. Here the side is what? In between the two angles. Here the side is what? So, what do you think? If two sets of corresponding angles are congruent, and one of the, this was the included side, what do you think this is going to say? Non-included sides are congruent. What do you think? Then the two triangles are what? Congruent. I'm going to draw two sets of two examples here. I'm going to do the same thing as up top. I'm going to make A congruent to D. What would my third thing that needed to be congruent here for angle, angle, side to work? Need a non-included side, wouldn't I? Now think about what non-included means. It means not included, right? So if I ask you to give me a number that's not 3, is there more than one answer to that? There's a lot, isn't there? Someone give me an answer. 1, 4. It's an infinite number, isn't there? If I ask you to give me a number between 1 and 10 that's not 3, what would be the answer then? 6, 7, 8, 9, 5, 4, 2, and 1. Or 2. We couldn't include because I said between 1 and 10, right? Point I'm making is when you say not something, it's a less specific saying than is something, correct? There's usually more than one answer. So if this is the included side, the not included side would be any of the other what? 2 sides, because there's how many sides? 3. So for instance, I could say, would that work as being angle side? It would. However, if I drew the same 2, even though they're labeled differently, sets of angles congruent on the one on the right there, what would also work for angle side? The bottom one there, right? Both of these are what? Angle what? And this one up here was angle side what? That's easy, isn't it? If you think about it, can anybody tell me all the possible combinations of 3 only repeated once? What I mean by that are possible shortcuts. Well, there's side, 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 right? SSS. Come in. Sit right there. We've talked about side, angle, side. Would everyone agree? We've talked about angle, side, angle. And what's the other one? Angle, angle, side. I'll get him one here in a second. That's not a test for you. Don't worry about that. Just list them kind of for right now, and then you can write them down when we're done. Okay, we know that these work, right? What are the only other 2 possibilities? We could have all 3 angles congruent, but the thing about it, this does not work. Can't use that one. You know the only other one there is? Angle side side. Everybody always loves this is their favorite thing about geometry. Where I can write a cuss word on the board, and I actually had a volleyball team that wanted to be named angle side side one time. Guess what? Here's the thing. That one doesn't work. So when you're thinking of the possibilities of 3 things, because think about it, that's the angle that's not included by the 2 sides, right? That makes sense? So here's the way you can think of this. If you're trying to remember which ones work, which ones don't. The one that should mean something good, would it be good to have 3 A's usually? A. And the one that makes a cuss word, so 2 extremes there, they don't work, do they? So the one that makes a cuss word doesn't work, and the one that should be good, 3 A's, doesn't work for proving 2 triangles congruent. Okay? Let's see. Did we pass the 5-6 worksheets back up? Are they still? Nobody, did somebody bring them back up to here after they got handed out? Can I get Court one?
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know if they made it back. They're pretty good about quietly passing them back over, I think. Here you go, Court. All right, so let's get this out. Now, the great thing about this section is kind of a review of 5.5 as well. And what I need you guys to understand that a lot of your chapter test is going to be these 2 formulas, which I said we will take on Monday. semester test, our chapter test. Okay? We're going to take it Monday so we can review on Tuesday. Okay. If you'll look here, name the additional congruent part so that the triangles would be congruent by the postulate. So they're going to give you two things. They want you to name a third thing that would make it what? In this case, angle, side, angle. So you've got these two things. I've got one of the sides and I've got one of the angles, don't I? So what am I missing? I need another angle. Now, since it's angle, side, angle, I have to have the angle that makes this the what? Included side. Which angle would that need to be? On this one, if it was B, wouldn't that make that? So angle B has to be congruent to, and it would need to be E. And when you do a problem like this in your homework, that congruency statement needs to be written down. Don't cut corners and just make the marks. Understood? You can make the marks when you're drawing it, and when you're writing the problem and drawing the figures, that's fine. Okay? On the next one, what did they give me? They gave me an angle and a what? Anybody?
Side.
Angle and a side. So what am I missing? An angle, right? They want this to be, if it's angle, angle, side, they want this to be the what? Non-included side. So which one angle being congruent would make this the side outside the two angles that are congruent? And what one here? So you need to say that angle A would be congruent to what? Angle D. And make sure to read the directions, understand, name the additional congruent parts needed so that the triangles are congruent by the postulate or theorem indicated. Okay, you're saying the third thing that is needed to make it what? Angle, angle, side. For these down here, here's the great thing about this section, and really 5.5 and 5.6 are a combination of each other. They build on each other. They just split it into two sections. It's really one. So they want you to say whether it's side, 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 angle, side, angle, or angle, angle, side. Okay, on this first one, what am I given? Remember, and this helps some people, write your possibilities, SSS, SAS, ASA, AAS. So you know the three things you need, right? Look at it here. Now, sometimes they're going to give you two, like they could have given you just these two. How do I know that this is congruent to this, even if they didn't write it? They're vertical angles. There were two lines intersect. I need all eyes up here. Please get your worksheet out. Not doing your homework. Now, so I have an angle. What do I have here? Is that an S? What is this here? So I have three things. The only possibility here by what's given to me is side, angle, side, isn't it? So I need to remember when we said look at each triangle separately, see if it's side, angle, side. You got two sides as an angle. Is this the included angle? Yes, it is. So I have side, angle, side in this one. However, it has to be side, angle, side in what? Both of them. Is the included angle here, side, angle, side? So these are congruent by what? Side, angle, side. Moving over here to this one. They give me a side. They give me another side. And then they give me a what? So what's my only possibility? Huh? What's my only possibility? Side, angle, side, correct? No. There's another possibility over here to the left? No, but I'm asking you the possibility to say these two are congruent. The only theorem I could use with the information that's given to me, I'm giving two sides as an angle. The only possibility is side, angle, side, isn't it? And so I need to see if this works for side angle side. What would be the included angle for the two sides here? So this one is the good old-fashioned cuss word, isn't it? Which does not work. Because this is the angle outside the two S's, right? So the thing is, even if this is side angle side over here, you don't need to go any further, because if one works, what? The other thing doesn't. So here I need to say not what. But at the same time, you need to look it over again and see if they didn't give you some other information that could give you something else congruent, because they can do that stuff. Like vertical angles, common side, but they don't, do they? So this one is not possible. As we move down here to 5, let's just analyze what information is given to us. 2 angles and a what? On this one, 2 angles and a? So what are my possibilities over here to the left? There's 2 possibilities, isn't there? These two both deal with a situation where you're given what? 2 angles congruent and a what? One is just, you got to figure out whether, okay, is it the included side or the non-included side, right? So on this one, angle, angle, side. Well, which one is it? Is it angle side? Is it angle side angle or angle angle side? Yes, it is the side outside. See what this one is. What is it? It's angle angle side for both of them, so I can say these two are congruent by what? Not so bad, is there? Do you understand what I mean by possibilities? Now, I'm not saying both of them are true for it. I'm saying, you know, when you're given 2 sides or 2 angles and a side, there's 2 possibilities, isn't there? Now here, what am I given? Angle, angle, and a what? What am I given in the other one? Angle, angle, and a what? Okay, so my only possibility is what? Angle, side, angle, or what? Angle, angle, side. Which one is it? Is this the side in between the 2 angles? So they are congruent by what? Angle, side angle this time. Questions there? Okay, coming down here. What am I given here? I'm given 3 sides. Am I given 3 sides for each one? So what is it? They're congruent by what? That's kind of the easy one, isn't it? Here I'm given a what? Side and 2 what? A side and 2 angles. What are my 2 possibilities? Angle, angle, side, or angle, side, angle? Which one is it? So they are congruent by, if it's what she said, don't say anything. By angle, angle what? Can we do that?